Good morning. Today we are going to make chili, as in chili beans, not chili salsa. You would put it on chips or hot dogs or French fries. And we are going to go over the ingredients first. We're going to go over the equipment that we need. And then we're going to prepare chili beans. So ingredients, if we read the recipe together, we need a half pound of ground beef. We need a quarter of an onion chopped. We need 1 cup of red kidney beans, drained, and I will drain the liquid from the beans. We need 2 cups of tomato sauce and a half cup of grated cheese. Then we are going to make chili spices. Now, if you want to make this recipe at home and you don't want to purchase all of the spices, you can get a packet down the grocery store aisle where they have taco seasoning, gravy mixes. There's one that says chili, and it is the same spices that we are going to measure. We need 2 tablespoons of chili powder. We need 1 teaspoon of dried onion. We need 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. We need a half a teaspoon of cumin, and we need a half a teaspoon of salt. So under Planning the Lab, number 1, it says list the equipment that you will need in order to prepare this recipe. So what equipment, based on the ingredients, do we need? Okay, you will need 3 custard cups. You will need 1 cup dry. You will need a half cup dry, making sure that you read the bottom to make sure you have the correct measurement. We will need our measuring spoons because we will need teaspoons and tablespoons. We will need our large liquid measuring cup. This is the equipment we need to get the ingredients. To finish and make the rest of the chili, we will need a knife that you will get from the demo table, and we will need a stock pot. Remember, a stock pot has 2 handles and a tall side. We will not be using the lid. Okay, so assistant cook, once you get your tray and all of your equipment on it, you're going to come up to the demo table and get your ingredients. You can go in any order for this recipe. I'm going to start with the ground beef. You need a half of a pound. They will be wrapped in wax paper. You need to just pick up 1 and it goes in your custard cup. You may want to write that down on your recipe. I wrote right here, custard cup for the ground beef. The onion is also going to go in the custard cup. Now the onion will be cut into quarters for you, so 1/4. I'm going to keep it whole for right now because I'm going to show you in a bit when I'm the cook how to prepare the onion. I'm going to set that down in my custard cup. Then I need 1 cup of red kidney beans. So you're going to use your dry measuring cup. The beans are drained from the liquid and rinsed. You can do that if you make this at home using a colander or strainer or a sieve. You can scoop the beans. Beans are something that are a little bit tricky to measure only because they are chunky. So when we go to level them, okay, we are actually leveling them by patting the side of the cup to get it leveled or to get it flat. These are going to stay in the cup. Next, you need 2 cups of tomato sauce. Now, tomato sauce is a liquid, so we need to use our liquid measuring cup, and we need to use our large one. Remembering, when we measure liquid, we need to measure it on a flat surface. Your tray is not a flat surface, so you want to put it on the demo table, and you want to be able to bend down and look at your measurement. I'm going to find it first. It's right here, 2 cups. Okay, I'm going to take my sauce and I'm going to pour it in. Now it tends to pile in the middle a little bit, so I'm going to give the liquid measuring cup a little shimmy shake. I'm going to bend down and see if I'm there, which I can tell I am not. So I'm going to continue measuring. And then I'm going to give it a little shimmy shake. I'm going to bend down and take a look at my measurement, and it is exactly 2 cups. I'm going to leave this in the liquid measuring cup. Then you need a half a cup of grated cheese. Now this is going to be the topping, so it is optional. Optional means you do not have to get it. You're going to scoop the cheese. Again, it's something that's hard to measure because it is chunky. You can use your hand to tap the side of the cup, and then also use your hand, because they are clean because you've washed them, to level the top. Now for the chili spices. As it says on your recipe, all in 1 custard cup. So you're going to measure all of the spices into your last custard cup. Okay, now when the recipe says capital T, B, S, P, we know that we need to use a tablespoon, making sure that you match the letters on the spoon with the letters and numbers on your recipe. So we need 2 tablespoons of chili powder. Okay, this is not spicy chili. It is a spice of New Mexico chili peppers that are very mild. You have an opening here that is round and then flat across like a smile. You're going to take your spoon, you're going to go in at this angle. You're going to scoop, and you may have to rotate the spice container a little bit, and then you're going to pull and drag this off the opening and drag and level it. And you've got 1, 2. So that's what we need of the chili powder. Next, we're going to do the dried minced onion, and it says 1 lowercase t, S, P, no B. So matching the number and the letters on the spoon, you're going to use that measurement. So this is the onion. This is the same opening. It's like a little smile. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to insert, level it off, and then it goes in your custard cup. Next, we need 1 teaspoon, so we're using the same spoon of granulated garlic. Again, leveling it off. Then we need a half teaspoon. So we're switching spoons. We're looking for the teaspoon that has a 1/2 symbol with a lowercase t, lowercase s, lowercase p. And we need cumin. Now cumin is a spice that is in a lot of different types of cooking. It's in American cooking, it's in Mexican cooking, it's in Asian cooking, it's also in Mediterranean or Middle Eastern. And then the last thing we need is a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So we're going to use that same spoon. You're going to go in, level it off, and that goes in the custard cup. As far as the knife, what I need you to do is take the knife, lay it on your tray. Each kitchen has a chef's knife. And then you will take your tray with all of your ingredients back to your kitchen, and you will let helper 1 or 2 review your ingredients to make sure it looks like you have the right amount, the correct ingredients. Okay. All right, so now you are the cook, and we are going to go ahead and follow our directions in order. Direction number 1 tells you to chop onion into small pieces. So you're going to need your cutting board for that. Your cutting board is under your counter. Now sometimes the cutting board gets pushed back. If that happens, open up your drawers, reach your hands under, and push the cutting board out with your fingers. You're going to pull the cutting board all the way out and set it on your countertop. Do not have it sticking out. Okay, we're going to talk about the onion for a little bit. Okay, the onion has what is called an onion skin or an onion paper on the outside. This helps to protect the onion. This is the stem or the root. Okay, we want to keep that intact while we're cutting it. And then this is the top where it was a flower originally. So we're gonna take our chef's knife, and how we're gonna hold it is we're going to take our thumb and our index finger, and we're gonna hold on to the blade like that. You're gonna wrap your other 3 fingers around the handle. This way we have a little bit more control over our knife and our cutting. I'm gonna start by chopping off the top. I'm gonna take my fingers, I'm gonna pull them back, and I'm gonna hold them at a claw position. And I'm going to cut through my onion, pulling back my knife, and I've removed the top. I'm gonna throw that into our trash, and then I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna divide it in half. I'm gonna set it down on a flat surface. I'm gonna take my hand again, I'm gonna wrap my hand around the blade like that. I'm gonna take my other hand and I'm gonna press down until I slice the onion in half. So now I have it in half. I'm gonna remove the skin, the paper, and the top layer of the onion. Again, keeping the stem intact. Okay, so again on this side, I'm gonna do the same thing. Now you, for class, you will have all of this already done. It will be cut in quarters for you, and you will just pick up a quarter of an onion. But I'm showing you this because we use onions several times through our cooking experience. Okay, I'm gonna then take this, I'm gonna cut it into 4ths, holding on and pressing down, pulling my blade back, pulling my blade back. I'm gonna set those onions aside. Okay, now I need to chop my onion. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your blade and you're gonna cut through the onion middle. Then you're going to pierce the onion and pull it down into a strip. And you're making slices. Okay, then you're gonna hold your onion again all together in a claw position, press down. Now, there are some people that cry because of cutting an onion. What are some of those reasons why you think people cry when cutting an onion? Okay, so now you have chopped that. The stem part I'm gonna take and throw into the trash. And now I have my quarter of an onion chopped. Next, on the direction number 2, says in a large stock pot over a medium-high heat, you are gonna cook the onions and ground beef until the beef is fully cooked. And it says brown. Brown means the meat goes from red to brown. Okay, so we're going to get our stock pot, okay, and it says a medium-high heat. If you look at our dials, this one says front burner, and we need to match the pan to the burner, so it's a large pan, large burner, and we're gonna go from medium to high, so we're gonna go right here in the middle. You're gonna turn the dial till it is directly between the 2 blue dots, so that is a medium-high. Okay, and we're gonna wait for our pan to heat up before we put our onions and our meat in. Okay, so you are going to take the onion, you can scoop it with your hands, and you're gonna put it into the pot. Then you're gonna take your, make sure that none of the onion paper gets into the pan. It isn't going to hurt you, it just doesn't taste good. Then you're gonna take your ground beef and you're going to put it also into the pan. And this has blood on it, so we need to make sure that we wash our hands with hot water and soap in case we got any of the meat on there or blood, because we do not want to cross-contaminate. I have hot soapy water in my dish pan because my helper 1 filled it up for me, so I'm gonna wash my hands in there, then dry them. We need a spoon from drawer 6. Gonna use this spoon. Okay, And you are going to slowly break up the ground beef with the spoon and let it cook. Now, we watched in the video regarding cross-contamination about how we need to switch out or wash our spoons or our utensils when they have touched raw beef or raw chicken. I'm going to not switch it out until all of my meat is mostly cooked, and then I will switch it out to a different spoon. Now, ground beef is one of those things that has to be cooked all the way through. Does anyone know why we need to cook the ground beef all the way through? Okay, it's because of E. coli. So E. coli is something that is found in intestines and in fecal matter, which is poop, of humans and of cows. And with ground beef, hundreds of cows are slaughtered, and the extra meat that is left over from the steaks and the roast is then ground into hamburger meat. So in 1 pound of hamburger meat, you could have as many as 100 cows all mixed into that ground beef. And the chances of them accidentally getting a little E. coli in their meat packing process is very high. So that's why we need to cook ground beef all the way through. Now, if you are at a restaurant or you are doing this at home and you grind up a roast or a steak, then you can eat your burger medium to medium rare. But if it is packaged ground beef from a store, from a factory, it should be cooked all the way through. On the back of your recipes, we have several questions that we need to answer. We're going to skip number 3 for right now, and we're going to go to number 4 while our meat cooks. Number 4 says, what other foods could you serve to make this a complete balanced meal? Number 5, how could we make sure this dish is low in fat? One of the things that I do when I make chili at home is I use ground turkey instead of ground beef. I still need to make sure that it's cooked all the way through like the ground beef, but it lowers the fat. Another thing that you can do is if you don't eat meat, you can add more beans or different types of beans, and that would make it a vegetarian option. Number 6, what steps should we take to make sure we do not cross-contaminate other foods? And remember, cross-contaminate is where a bacteria goes from one food into another food. It crosses over. That can happen on your surfaces, it can happen with your utensils, and it can happen with your hands. So the answer to number 6 is you need to wash your hands, utensils, surfaces, and sanitize. Number 7, what unexpected problems could happen when making this dish? The correct answer is you could not cook the meat all the way through and cause cross-contamination. Going back to number 3, with what other ingredients could we add to the chili? Let's think about that for a minute and think of what other items or ingredients we would add to the chili. Okay, so I have cooked the ground beef until it is brown all the way through. And in order to test that, you're going to break apart the larger pieces. And yes, it is cooked all the way through. So number 3 says to pour the kidney beans in, tomato sauce, and chili spices. So I'm going to drop in my kidney beans. I'm going to mix that up. I'm going to add in my tomato sauce. Also, I have switched out my spoon. I'm now using the slotted spoon. Stir that around. And the chili spices. Before you mix in or add in, the chili spices, you want to mix them up. So use your measuring spoons. Mix them up. And then you're going to want to sprinkle it around. and stir. Number 4, cook over medium heat for 15 minutes or longer if time permits. So you're going to turn your heat down to medium, and you are going to cook that for 15 minutes or longer if time permits. When I make this at home, I let it cook for about 25 to 30 minutes, sometimes longer. Then what you're going to do is you're going to, as the cook, you're going to get out your ladle, and when it is time to serve the food, you're going to ladle the chili into bowls. People are going to top it with cheese if they would like. Do not put the cheese into the pan. It will make for a messy cleanup. Excuse me. You can also serve it with onions and sour cream.